As you are studying in the postgraduate course of dance, you definitely realize and know that this is going to be your vocation. And for long, dance has been a vocation in India. Both men and women have been ritual dance specialists associated with temples, monasteries, and darbars. The story of the Devadasis, Maibis, and Maharis is well known. There are monk dancers in Assam called Bhaktas who are examples of males who dedicate their lives to the performance of dance as an offering and ritual in a temple. There were also public platforms where, for entertainment purposes, men and women danced. Chau, Raibenshi, Yakshagana, Kuchipudi, Bhavai all are examples of how and when traditionally males danced. Some of the women belonging to specific communities were associated with dancing for entertainment. For instance, Kalbelia, Rai, and Bedia women were for centuries known to dance for entertainment. It is believed that Bedia women danced for the laborers from different parts of the world who had collected at Taj Ganj at the time of building of Taj Mahal. Later, they were amongst the communities and tribes that entertained the British troops. Today, many Bedia girls are among the bar dancers of Mumbai. Apart from these girls, there were also a group of traditional performers called by various names, Tawayafs, Baijis, etc. There were a whole range of professional dancing girls, some so talented that they had access to the highest centers of power, like the palace and the courtly settings, and were well integrated with the royals and the aristocracy. The case of Udhambai, who bore Muhammad Shah, his successor, is well known. Also well known is the association of the dancing girl Lal Kunwar with the later Mughals. Many other Tawaiffs had a similar story of enjoying access and privilege that came out of the artistic talents that they demonstrated. And so is the same case of Devadasis. Apart from these communities, which were closely associated with dance and music practice in the public sphere, there were women belonging to the security and comfort of domestic households who also danced and sang in many situations in a domestic setting. But this dancing and singing was more in the nature of celebratory dances to mark rites of passage events. The difference between those who danced on these occasions and ritual dance, and art dance specialist mentioned earlier is that the latter lived their entire lives around the practice, training, and social relations formed due to their artistic skills. Many of them did not even enter the domestic sphere, preferring to dedicate themselves only to their arts. Almost all of them lived in matrilineal families where the birth of a girl child was celebrated. It is important to recognize that while they did not formally get married, they were encouraged to have license and children were born from such license. The girls normally adopted dance as their vocation if they had necessary skills, but the men practiced several supporting professionals like singers, musicians, and percussionists. In some cases, they formed license with rich patrons. God kings, the king of Puri was known as the God king, and other members of the aristocracy. In that case, the sons born out of these licenses often enjoyed a courtier's position. The men, they had license with took care of their daily living, leaving them free to pursue their artistic practice. This is how these professional dancing and singing women became one with their arts. Even before India became independent, there was a simultaneous process of reform and revival of the arts. The professional performance communities, whether the Tawayafs and Baijis or even the communities and tribes that were known for the dances for entertainment, were painted with the brush of stigma. They were, however, replaced with the standard barriers of the reformed versions of the art. The new standard bearers were both men and women, but while in the case of Kathak, the traditional women were marginalized, as I can quote a book by Pallavi Chatterjee, Bales of Change, while the men from the traditional families were valorized. Thus, the Maharaj family was celebrated as the first family of Kathak, but all the Tawaifs that they had taught in Lucknow and Mumbai were all ignored. Birju Maharaj says about his ancestral home that had been given to the family by the Nawab that stalwarts, leading musicians, and famous Tawaifs alike considered the Talim Khana of this house to be a temple of Kathak. In fact, many compositions were created for Kathak dance in 19th century. Oud Tawayafs, who employed both expression and movement while singing. In her book, The Thumri Singer Vidya Rao, Heart to Heart, admits that one of the first dadras, Shud Ai Re Balam Pardesiya Ki, that Rao learned from Naina Devi was taught to the later by Begum Akhtar, who learnt it from Lachu Maharaj, who had in turn learnt it from Kathak maestro Kalka Prasad. The fact was that the 50s was a time of a cultural shift in the arts. The era of courtesans had ended. Old avenues of patronage had disappeared with the Nawabs and Rajas. All India Radio, AIR, was the news sponsor for music and cultural events that the new nation sponsored were the new forms and forums for the arts. Dance and music schools were opening up and the artists were starting to perform in concerts. Classical music and dance were reaching the middle class. The courtesan tradition jarred with the new notions of the Indian nation and womanhood. In that scenario, the argument developed that the dance and music had to be rescued from the notch girls. Only legally married women could sing for AIR. B.V. Kaskar, the Minister for Information and Broadcasting of that time, said, "No one whose private life was a public scandal would be patronized." Thus, none of these Tawais found a post in the new centers of Kathak that the governments created, including the various dance schools that it supported, like the Shriram Bharatiya Kala Kendra or the Sangeet Bharati, or even set up, as in the case of Kathak Kendra, the National Institute for Kathak Dance. This, for instance, had been a long issue that Sitara Devi felt scorned by. Even the same thing happened, I think, at the MS University of Baroda, which was the first university to establish a department of dance way back in 1949. With India becoming independent, the stigma around the revived forms of dance went away to a large extent. The young government of India saw in the arts a change to make a big impact in establishing identity of a young nation with an old culture. Many modern educated young girls from good families educated in modern schools and universities began to practice dance. Shambhu Maharaj was brought to Delhi from Lucknow by Sangeet Natak Academy secretary Nirmala Joshi to teach the first batch of national scholarship holders in Kathak. The first student to benefit from this scheme of government was Maya Rao. In her touchingly written memoir, Maya Rao says, She recalls the challenges of the learning from Pandit Shambhu Maharaj, whose language was so colorful to say the least, and who had himself had to struggle to take on the questions and concerns of this new educated modern type of students. After Maya Rao came a whole host of girls like Kumudini Lakhya, Bela Arnab, Maya's younger sister Chitra, and many others. This situation was a peculiar mix of Guru Sishya teaching in the modern institutional setting. Traditionally, without any overt discipline, knowledge was passed on sina ba sina, or heart to heart, in a tradition of one to the other, through a disciple in which the student absorbs not just the arts techniques but its whole inner world from her guru, and in turn passes on that wisdom to her disciple. In the institutional setting, with the discipline of classrooms, timetables, and schedules, such heart to heart transfer was not possible. But the truly driven teachers, whether from traditional families or the new generation of women dance teachers, would attempt to approximate the old style of teaching. As for them, their art was not a career but a vocation. It is appalling that there is no clarity about the many livelihood opportunities that exist around the arts. Many such talented and driven teachers set up institutions of their own and conduct classes of great intensities, often from their home. Some didn't bother about setting up institution, but once they found a good student, they taught that student personally, thoroughly, with an eye for detail, and lavished a lot of attention. Some joined important dance schools as teachers, happy to be assured a monthly fee as honorarium. Several joined regular schools and animated their dance departments. Pandit Narendra Sharma, for instance, was associated with modern school Barakhamba Road for almost 4 decades. Many others who were more academically oriented joined university departments. Thus, if dance is accepted as a vocation, not a casual hobby oriented dabble, many openings exist in the teaching of the arts. The recent decision by NCERT, following the Yashpal Committee's suggestions, the National Curriculum Framework for School Education 2005, aims at including arts education as a compulsory subject till class X. It is hoped, that is class 10th, it is hoped that the experience gained by the students and the interest generated among the learners will encourage them in the future to pursue the various forms of the arts. This has opened the doors for teachers associated with the arts, especially arts like Kathak that need skills in music and dance. Performances continue to be a big draw. Kathak is possibly the most popular dance form, popular on such a large scale that no other dance has caught the nation's imagination. To a large extent, the role of Bollywood has been responsible for this large scale visibility that this dance form has enjoyed. The many films on golden hearted wives use the dance style of Kathak, as this was the language associated with it. K. Asif's Mogle Azim, Satyajit Ray's Shatranj Ke Khiladi and Jalsagar, Muzaffar Ali's Umrao Jan, Sanjay Leela Bhansali's Devdas, and even the recent Bajirao Mastani are all examples of the authentic use of Kathak come to mind immediately. Most films, even in creative sequences, tended to use Kathak as the dance language. In fact, enactment in Bollywood is akin to Kathak Abhinaya, which is very realistic. This close association with such a popular medium has ensured that the most audiences are at least familiar or somewhat familiar with this dance form, even if they are watching it for the first time. Such is the attraction that Kathak is used in most performances, not just in North India but all over, including overseas. One of the reasons is also that the language, poetry, music, and aesthetics is familiar, easy to understand, and wide spectrum in the northern Indian regions. Therefore, performances as solos, groups, or by ensemble companies work well. While solo Kathak is a display of virtuosity, group and ensemble works have a high wow value and are quite entertaining. Thus, many dancers pursue a performance career. Those who are deeply entrenched in the form prefer the virtuoso performance of a solo dancer. But even lighter dancers can find a place in the group work. While many dancers perform for artistic satisfaction and have a trajectory of recognition and fame, many more, driven by activism and social concerns, are able to marry their social concerns with their artistic interest. Amongst them are dancers who chose to remain the government sector, song and drama division, or the publicity department. Nowadays, the National Rural Health Mission also has scope for artists, both dancers and musicians, to join the creation of ICE, information, communication, and educational material for NHRM or the National Rural Health Mission's concerned areas. The Doordarshan series like Kalyani, employing traditional art, used to cover the states with the poorest health indicators. Most of these states were those that came in Hindi belt where Kathak could be preferred as a dance style. So opportunities come dressed in many forms and much depends on the openness we show. Then there is the entire large and wide open field of choreography for films, for TV shows, including reality shows, international events, spectacles, weddings, and multimedia performances. In the past, some of the best film choreographers have been Kathak dancers. Lachu Maharaj, Gopi Krishna, Krishna Kumar, Master Sohan Lal are some names that come to mind immediately. Sohan Lal's claim to fame was the introduction of Kathak in Hindi films. His brother Hiralal also took up the profession of choreography and was an established dance director himself. Sohan Lal's hit films include Jewel Thief, Chaudhary Ka Chand, Saheb Bibi aur Gulam, and Satyam Shivam Sundaram. B. Hiralal was one of the four Lal brothers, namely B. Sohan Lal, B. Hiralal, B. Chinni Lal, and B. Radheshyam. He was a renowned film choreographer and was one of the founding fathers of classic Bollywood cinema songs. He brought the strong vehement Jaipur style to dance to Indian cinema and rightfully commanded respect for several decades in the Indian film industry. Acknowledging B. Hiralal's influence on him, the star of yesteryear, Jitendra, said that a student is only as good as his guru. My dance master B. Hiralal was very hard taskmaster but fabulous at his work. I owe him all the credit, says Jitendra. Lachu Maharaj was already an iconic dancer of the Lucknow Gharana of Kathak and seriously involved with the teaching of Kathak in Mumbai and later in Lucknow. All of this led to him winning the Sangeet Natak Akademi Award and Presidential Medal. Among his well-known films were Mahal, Pakiza and Moghal-e-Azam. Gopi Krishna had the distinction of being the youngest choreographer when he started at the age of 17. Among all the well-known films of these recipients of Padma Shri were Saki, Jhanak Jhanak Payal Baje, Grahasti, Dastan, Mehbooba, Umrao Jan and Nach Mayuri, and the international production The Perfect Murder. Till his last days, he was as well known as a master of the Kathak form. The light of the lamp of the Banaras Gharana, Maharaj Krishna Kumar, balanced his performance and teaching career with his choreographic work for films. His well known films are Avara, Madosh, and Andaz, apart from a host of others. Among the best film choreographers today with Kathak background are the 5-time National Award recipient and 4-time Filmfare Award recipient Saroj Khan, who was trained by Master Sohan Lal, who she went to assist later. Vaibhavi Merchant is the granddaughter of choreographer B. Hiralal. Vaibhavi began her career by assisting her uncle Chinni Prakash. Chinni Prakash has himself got the National Film Award for the best choreography for the song Azimo Shan Shahenshah in the film Jodha Akbar. And earlier, the Filmfare Best Choreographer Award thrice for the songs Chumma Chumma De De in the film Hum, the song Tu Cheez Badi Hai Mast Mast for Mohra in 1995, and the song Shekhar Ki Ladki for Rakshak in 1997. In recent years, he has choreographed for Dabang and Dabang 2, as well as Besharam, Shingam Returns, Chennai Express, and Dam Laga Ke Haisha. Vaibhavi's first solo work was the choreography for the song Dhol Baje for the film Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam, and she won National Award for it. Her other memorable songs are Ori Chori in the 2001 film Lagan and Kajrare for the film Bunty or Bubbly, both of which fetched her several awards. She continued to choreograph selected numbers in films such as Devdas, Bagban, Fida, Dhoom, Veer Zara, Aaja Nachle, and Rabne Banai Jodi, Swadesh, Rang De Basanti, and Dhoom 3. She has also choreographed an Australian musical called The Merchants of Bollywood, written by Toby Gog about her family. Her younger sister, Shruti Merchant, has joined the bandwagon in what is now a family tradition, choreographing for Bollywood. She began her career assisting sister Vaibhavi in films like Jab Tak Hai Jaan, Dhoom 3, Ayya, Kurban, Dil Bole Hadippa, Dilli 6, Luck by Chance, Rabne Banadi Jodi, Dostana, Thoda Pyar Thoda Magic, Bhootnath, Tashan, Aaja Nachle, Jhoom Barabar Jhoom, Tara Room Room, Dhoom 2, Umrao Jaan, Krish, Bunty or Bubbly, Dil Mange More, Swadesh, and so many more. Shruti has choreographed the steps for the climax track Koi Patthar Se Na Mare in the film Aaja Nachle, which won many accolades. She made her debut as a choreographer and won the Big Entertainment Award for her best choreography for Thagle from Ladies vs. Vicky Bahel, and made her TV debut as a judge on Zee TV's dance reality show Dance India's Dance Season 4 in 2013. She is now touring the world with the theatrical musical The Merchants of Bollywood as the assistant choreographer. The story of the show is based on the life of her sister, Miss Vaibhavi Merchant, and her grandfather, Sri B. Hiralal. Many of the Kathak dancers find themselves on TV as judges as well. They are not now choreographing but playing a judge role as well. Both Saroj Khan and Vaibhavi Merchant have been judges in the various dance reality shows on TV. Vaibhavi has been judge on the television dance show Nach Baliye 3, Jhalak Dikhla Ja Season 3, Zara Nach Ke Dikha 2, Just Dance, Boogie Boogie. Saroj Khan appeared in a reality dance show as a member of the jury in 2005 of Nach Baliye and also compared in the second season of the same show. She also was showing and teaching the whole show for choreography. Saroj Khan has recently been a judge for the show Ustado Ke Ustad, which is aired on Sony. In 2008, she appeared as a signature show titled Nachle Ve Saroj Khan on NDTV. She choreographed for this show as well. The story of Sandeep Mahavir is very inspiring. Sandeep belongs to a traditional family of musicians of the Jaipur Gharana. He is the talented son of the traditional Kathak guru, the late K. Mahavir, who made his name in the Mumbai film industry as a composer and singer. At the age of 5, he began learning vocal music from his father. After his death, Sandeep learned Kathak under Madhurita Sarang at Nritya Darshan in Mumbai, who had been trained in Jaipur Gharana Kathak by his father. Sandeep does not blend different styles of Kathak and believes in retaining the purity of the form. He still performs pure Kathak but with slick presentation, stagecraft, and showmanship. However, here is a dancer from a traditional background who has dared to do different presentations on stage. He dances in the same evening's concerts, both pure Kathak and also Kathak to jazz percussionist, drummed out by Sitara Devi's world musician's son Ranjit Barot, with equal facility and with effortless grace. Sandeep was the Indian choreographer on the Doordarshan dance reality show with a difference Rumjum. In this, he matched his vast knowledge, understanding, and skill of the folk dances of India to compete with Sandeep Soparkar's knowledge and skill with dance forms of the world. Recently, he created a dance show for the Kingdom of Dreams, their third title Abhimanyu, the fastest feet. Starting from a colorful Rajasthan village, it takes traditional Kathak dancer to the USA after a chance meeting with an American Broadway dancer who is quick to realize his potential. His international success helps his village suffering from a drought to get a perennial supply of water. Set to an original score created by Deepak Pandit and Sandeep Mahavir himself, testifying to the multi-skilled artistry of his traditional young artist coming into his own in a modern world. Abhimanyu has original songs sung by Shankar Mahadev, Diler Mehendi, Udit Narayan and Dinesh Mahavir. The subject being very close to the heart and life of Sandeep Mahavir. It has a sense of truth ringing throughout. What is evidence is that learning Kathak is just the first step on the springboard of creativity. What matters is how you use this training so that it gives you joy and financial stability for your life. This is apt for all dance styles and all students that no matter what, learn the dance style at its fullest with total concentration, and then the world is at your feet. You can do, you can dream, you can create anything that you wish in life. Thank you.